Hi. Have you ever wondered why all of a sudden it seems like all anyone wants to talk about is soccer? Well, this is probably because of the World Cup. But did you also know that the sport of soccer has grown as a sport exponentially in the last 20 years in the United States? There are a few reasons for this, and today I'd like to share them with you. My name is Nick DeLucia, and I've been playing soccer ever since I was a little kid. And Today I'd like to share with you a little bit about the sport of soccer, tell you a little bit about how it's played, a little bit about why it's becoming more popular in the United States, and the biggest reason of that in the World Cup. If you are listening and you have never played soccer before, or you're a fan of the game, or you have kids that might be interested in playing, you may be able to benefit from information here. And with that being said, I'd first like to talk about the sport as a whole and how it's played. Most people know that the object of soccer is to kick the ball into the net, score a point, but most people don't know much more than that. And basically, soccer is played with four positions. One is the goalie, who is the only person that can use their hands, and their job is to block shots and keep the ball out of the back of the net. Then there's the defenders, whose job is to help the goalie and assist him in keeping the ball out of the back of the net and getting the ball up and out. And they pass it up to the midfielders, whose job is to take it from the back up front to the last position, the forwards. And the forwards are the ones that are usually shooting the balls and scoring the goals. Now that you know a little bit about how the game is played, I'd like to talk a little bit about the growth of the sport in America and why it's becoming more popular. And there's several reasons for this. One of the biggest reasons is nowadays the first generation of kids that grew up really playing soccer are finally becoming older. At the youth level, the sport of soccer in America has become one of the most popular, if not the most popular, youth sport in America, and it has been for a few years now. And now that the kids of that first generation that were raised on soccer, such as myself, are getting older and growing up, they're starting to have their own families and then instilling that love of soccer in their own households and just passing it down to the next generation of kids. And so it's becoming more popular at the youth level. And we also see TV companies such as ESPN and ABC and other television companies broadcasting the sport of soccer more often. And we see it more on TV, we see it more in the media, and that also helps to grow the sport. But the biggest reason, and one of the most important tournaments in all of sports, is the World Cup. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about that tournament specifically. The World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world internationally. Everyone comes together once every 4 years for the biggest soccer tournament. And with the World Cup, the United States has been in it every year since 1990. Was the first time that we qualified in over 40 years. And ever since then, we've always been a part of the World Cup, but we've never really been a huge contender until recently. And that just proves to support my previous points about the sport of soccer growing. And because of this growth and popularity in the United States, more and more people play the game and the talent pool gets bigger. And then our national team does better in the World Cup and more people get behind the national team because as Americans, we love to see our teams do good. And when our teams are finally doing good and finally competing at the highest level, it just keeps the ball rolling and more people get interested and exposed to the sport. And so that's why the World Cup is probably the biggest benefactor of promoting the sport and exposing it and making it become more popular. In conclusion, basically what I'm here to say is that the sport of soccer is a beautiful one, and it's the most popular sport in the world. And if you've never played it or you've never watched it, I would highly recommend. And hopefully, everything you've heard today You can get out there and start kicking the ball around. If you have a kid, maybe sign them up for a youth soccer league. It's a great game, and I truly hope you don't miss out on watching one of the greatest sporting events. We only get to see it once every 4 years. So enjoy the World Cup and go USA.